Hello there. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the big trends that people like jumping around to, and I'm going to explain to you why a lot of this stuff is quite frankly silly. And in this video, I'm basically going to go over like an objective view about how the coaching industry works, stuff I've observed, and things that I just really want to explain to you, because if you understand how to think and understand how like models work and how people and just things work, a lot of these strategies are not going to phase you. You're going to lose a lot less money. You're going to be a lot smarter. You're going to be able to make more money in the long run. And you're not going to be very volatile and very subject to change, because a lot of the times I speak with a lot of coaches, it's like the one bad thing happening from the whole business just going to nothing. And you never ever want to be in that sort of position. So I'm going to explain to you how this works, and this is going to be very related to acquisition, because obviously that's what people care about, so that's what I'm going to make the video about. So I'm going to show you the exact process around it, and this isn't going to be some magic pill. It's not going to be a script, it's not going to be a flow, it's not going to be the exact trend. I just want to show you how people think, because this is what's way more important, because you can use that to make your own trends or whatever, make your own sort of like ideas, become an industry leader. So yeah, so let's say someone starts to scale. Let's say, for example, let me give you an example most people know. Let's say Bastian Sloth, for example, high ticket coach. So let's say when Bastian Sloth figured out how to really use Instagram shoutouts effectively, he started teaching that to other people, and obviously from there he was scaling with Instagram shoutouts. And then what ended up happening was that everyone started to jump on this trend. Everyone started to make Instagram accounts to get results and stuff, and then as a result, they created some sort of competition for themselves. So in, let's say, theory, people said, oh, it's not working anymore, and then they wanted to look for the next best thing. And then another industry leader came in, and then they started leading their own pack of people, essentially. But what most people don't understand is how people shift from different things. They don't understand why people do that. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you how you can avoid that trap, because this is where a lot of people end up losing like a lot of money. So let's look at this amazing diagram, by the way. So I just put like a couple methods. There's tons and tons of acquisition methods, but I just put the ones that most people will know. Let's say, for example, someone was scaling with, let's say, Instagram shoutouts. Let's say like Bastian stuff, for example. Let's say advertising here. I don't know, maybe like the advertising slash the the webinar stuff, maybe that COD used to do or something like that. Let's say organic marketing, people that really advocate for this stuff. Let's say that. And let's say cold DMs. Let's say people that just market for like outbound DMs, outbound emails, outbound SMS. Let's just look at those people that are heavy on appointments, let's say. So what ends up happening is that, let's say the grass is green on this side. So like there's so much grass here. So this is grass, if you didn't know what that is, by the way. So this is grass. And what ends up happening is that one person gets really good at it, and then the rest of, let's see if I can find a sheep here. Let's see if I can find like a sheep. It's a cat. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna use it. Let's say like all the cats, they start basically following this thing, because one person is really, really good at it. And then what ends up happening is that there's a ton of cats, so everything gets oversaturated. So there's tons of them now. So there's loads of them, and now everything's oversaturated, and then everyone's saying, oh, Instagram shoutouts don't work. And then someone else comes and they're like, oh, I'm scaling to like $1 million a month, and I only spent like $10,000 on ads. And everyone's gonna be like, whoa, how's this person doing that? And then what ends up happening is that they leave this place, and then what happens here is that the grass also becomes smaller. So now there's less grass because everyone is eating it. But keep in mind, but there's still grass, but people have eaten the grass. But now there's new grass over here, so advertising has tons of grass now, and now everyone's jumping in on advertising. And then what ends up happening, obviously in normal basic economics, as supply as demand goes up, supply also, you get what I mean, essentially. So it becomes now expensive to advertise now, because more people are advertising. Just basic logic, essentially. So now there was a ton of grass here, people were making a ton of money, and now suddenly there's no grass. Like it's pretty much all gone. So I'm deleting the grass because they've eaten everything. All right, cool. I don't even know if cats eat grass. Anyways, so we go back to organic marketing. So now organic marketing has tons and tons of grass. So like people talking about it, they're like, oh my God, it's the new sustainable way. You don't spend money on ads. You don't spend anything. You just spawn clients from thin air. It's amazing. And then all the cats are like, holy shit, this is amazing. Let's jump into this. And now they're in organic marketing, essentially. And what ends up happening here is that it just keeps going down and down and down. And then someone is like, oh my God, I'm scaling with cold DMs. I'm spending like $500 a month for an automation software that allows me to send 1,000 DMs, and I'm making 1,000 different types of pieces of money, and then everyone jumps into this thing. But what people don't do, especially let's say the cats here, what these cats don't do is that they don't understand the fundamental reasons why all of these strategies work. Like, they don't understand the details. So for example, let's say cold outbound. If you can get really good at cold outbound, it works well. But what these people don't understand is that they don't try to understand why it works. They just jump into it because it works, essentially. So for example, you see best in store like post an Instagram shoutouts, and then you're like, oh, let me just post an Instagram shoutout. You do it and you saturate the market, and it ends up not working. And you're like, oh shit, it's not good. I need to jump to the next thing. But you never sat down and tried to realize why these things worked. And the reason why a lot of these people can advertise these things, like they can still, let's say like the one cat, like the person who started, let's say like Bastian Store, for example, the one person who started this thing can always repeatedly make this work is because they understand the mental models why Instagram shouts outs work. They understand why it works. Let's say, for example, in the person that's really good at advertising, people might say advertising is dead, but people can still get clients like that. People can still get low cost per lead. People can still do that stuff. But what ends up happening is that a lot of the people that follow, they don't look at the reasons why these things work. So they just move to something else when they've eaten all the grass. But the grass is still there. The people who are really, really good at the thing end up staying there because they know how to iterate and improve. Because if you could understand how something works, even if someone gave you like a script or something like that, and it oversaturates the market, you wouldn't be in trouble because you understand why it works. So you can be like, okay, cool, let me iterate and improve and try something new. Same thing for cold DMs. So there might be tons of grass in cold DMs. There might be tons of opportunity. But let's say the person who was really good at cold DMs, like the person who started the trend, gave out his like script. He gave like the whole script to everyone, and everyone started using the script. What ends up happening is that the effectiveness obviously just depletes because everyone's doing the same thing, and the people who start doing the same thing, they don't get the results as the other people. They're like, oh shit, this doesn't work anymore. And then what ends up happening is that they look for new grass to jump into. So they're always in this constant cycle of just going in circles and circles. And this is a very expensive cycle because they're not understanding the underlying reasons why this work. But the people who made the strategies, if let's say the script doesn't work, they're like, cool, I'll just make a new one because I understand why these work. I understand what I need to say to make it work. I'll just make a new script. But all these other cats that are in here, they don't have the luxury or the brain power to think about why something works. So what they end up doing is they just jump to like different hoops. And this is how trends are set, and this is how they quickly go away. Now this is how, the 5-day challenge thing was like a trend, and then everyone started doing it, and then it stopped working. Like no one really understands why 5-day challenges work in the first place, but the people who are really good at it, they obviously iterated and improved it. They made it shorter or something like that. They added more steps. They made it more compelling to buy. But the people who did the 5-day challenge at the start and then they realized, oh, it's not working for me, and then they switch to something else, those are the people that are just the herds. They're basically just following the one person. So how do you kind of get out of this trap? So any sort of acquisition channel. So obviously you need to realize why you're doing an acquisition channel. So let's say, for example, advertising. Let's say advertising works, but let's say you don't have the money to do it. Cool. So you can do organic. So why does organic work? So you need to understand underlying reasons why stuff work, and I explain all of that type of stuff in my videos. If you haven't seen them, please check them out. They go over pretty much a lot of different things. So you want to understand why organic marketing actually works. What makes organic tick so well that people buy and it doesn't cost you much to actually make some money. So what you need to do is you need to go into research mode and understand the underlying reasons, because once you understand that, as more people, let's say as people do this cycle and they come back to organic marketing and it becomes like, the holy grail, and people are eating the grass, you understand why stuff works, so you can iterate. So as everyone is just copying, you're iterating. So you're not copying off people. You're using your brain to actually think and realize why stuff works. Okay? So let's say, for example, someone says, oh, you should disarm someone in the conversation so they're more likely to respond to you. And you understand why that works. So if someone had a script that was working well and then other people start to use that script, you can tell yourself, okay, cool, I need to maybe disarm personal conversations. What other ways can I do that? And then you start thinking, and that's what's super important, especially when it comes to a space where there's a lot of competitors, there's a lot of people doing the same thing that you might be doing, essentially. So I hope I explained this well, and I love my cat analogy. I'm gonna probably use this a bit later, but let me just show you an example. So let's say organic content. The reason why it works super well is because of this diagram, and it's from Sabri, I think. But essentially, this is based off data. Essentially, 3% of the market are basically looking to buy now. And the reason why organic content works is even paid ads as well to some extent. This is not just for organic. Is that if you do a strategy super well, you can end up targeting the rest of the 97% of your market and still selling to them in an efficient way. Because what people end up doing, and this is exactly why the cost of like the ads was going super high, is because everyone kept targeting this 3%, because it's like the lowest hanging fruit. Obviously people are lazy. It's like, cool, these people are ready to buy. They're searching on a computer how to, let's say, nearest fitness trainer near me, or let's say, for example, nearest mindset coach near me. They're searching for that stuff. So people are bidding for the clicks, because those are people that are like, yes, I want to spend your money. They've already gone through this whole cycle. They've gone up, they've been educated, they know what they need, and now they want to buy. But what ends up happening is that as thousands and thousands of businesses are just targeting 3%, they get obviously, like with basic division, if 1,000 people are targeting 3%, what ends up happening, each person gets like 0.0 something percent of the actual 3%. But if, let's say, 100 businesses are now looking at, okay, cool, how can I educate people to get them to this 3%? That's 97% of the market. So even if 1,000 people were targeting that 97%, you will still get a decent chunk out of that. And obviously decent chunks out of a whole market is a lot of money, essentially. So stuff like this, understanding why stuff like this works, makes you make better decisions, obviously. So, but what most people don't do is that they skip the part where they have to understand things, and they just jump into the herd module where they're just following people and just trying to figure out why stuff works. I mean, they're just trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way to make more money, essentially. And they're not trying to understand the underlying reasons, and as a result, they eat up all the grass, and stuff doesn't work, essentially. So I hope this kind of made you understand why people jump through trends and why people go left, right, and center. I really wanted to explain that point properly. And if you're wondering how you can understand how people think and, understanding the underlying reasons why certain stuff work better than others, and obviously staying consistent with it, to even when people start coming back to this thing, you are still going to be thriving, because you can always iterate and improve, then check out more of my content. I have a free training that goes over exactly why organic marketing works super well and how you can get clients with just 30-second videos. Check that out. And if you're interested in how we can actually do that for you, so you didn't have to do anything, if you're very lazy and you don't like doing a lot of work, then click the link below. We can book a call and we can chat and see if we can even help you in the first place. But yeah, hope this video was super valuable. Anyways, shameless pitch is over, and go do some thinking. Never be a cat. All right, I'm gonna end the video there.